I'm Haley. I own and run Wild Oak Trail with my husband Saxon. Today we'll be discussing something that is super essential and important to off-grid living but doesn't get talked about enough is toilets and what is the best composting toilet. So there's quite a few different types of composting toilets and so it can be a little bit confusing. So today I'm going to run through the variety of types of composting toilets, what scenario is best for each, and I'll try to help you decide which one is best overall. So let's get into it. Okay, so first type we're going to talk about is urine diverting composting toilets. These are probably the most popular type because they're super compact and portable. These units will separate the liquid waste from the solid waste in two different compartments. Generally, the liquid waste will go into either a container that you can just empty out, or it'll go into a drain that goes into an evaporation trench or leach bed. And they are easy to empty when the time comes. Most models will even sell like a separate liquids container. So if you're on the road and you need to empty out the container, but you're not really in a place to do that, you can just swap it out, put the lid on it until it's ready to be disposed of. For the waste, it gets dropped into the waste bin, and that's where the compost magic happens. So generally you'll start off with like peat moss or coco coir in there, and that will help the composting process and it'll help add air to the mixture. Some units like the Nature's Head have like an agitator inside the foot spider handle on the outside that you turn every time you use it, and that adds air and helps the composting process happen quicker. Other models will say just like sprinkle a little bit of that material on after every time you use it. And again, it helps just like add organic matter and air to the situation, helps it compost a little quicker. Once the waste bin is full, then you'll want to dispose of it or empty it out. With like 1 to 2 people using it full time, you'll usually have to like empty it out after about 3 to 4 weeks, let's say. So generally, when that happens, because these units are a little bit smaller and they get full quicker, the compost process isn't quite finished. So what you'll want to do is empty it into like a compost bin and just leave it and let the matter finish composting for like 12 months. If you don't have access to a compost bin, then you can always empty it in like an RV dumping station, or some states will allow you to like double bag your waste and just throw it in the regular garbage. If you're going to do that, I would probably suggest using a compostable bag. And that way it'll just finish composting in like the city garbage, but just check your local regulations for that one. So just to summarize, let's say the pros and cons of a urine diverting composting toilet. So the pros for sure, excellent odor control. The units are generally very portable and very lightweight and compact. They are also low power, so they'll use a 12-volt fan, so you can either plug that right into an outlet or hook it into a small solar panel or into your wiring. And they're also very easy to install. They're quite simple units, so not a lot. You'll probably want to like bracket it down if you're in a van, or yeah, I guess bracket it down no matter what. Yeah, super easy to install and easy to use. So for cons for the urine diverting composting toilet, you do have to empty it. It's not always everyone's favorite thing to do. Generally, the waste smells like soil, like it's not a big deal, but you know, it does have to be done every like 3 to 4 weeks. Also, there's a slight learning curve because you have to like sit down to use it, even if you're going pee for the men out there. So, you know, that's just a little bit getting used to, and also you would have to let your guests know how to use it as well. All right, now we'll talk about the next type of composting toilet, which is batch composting toilets. The models that we carry at Wild Oak Trail are from the Waterless Toilet Shop. This is a super cool company. They've been around since the 90s, making amazing toilets, super durable and really good quality. And they started making them in Finland. So with the batch composting toilets, there's no separation of liquids and solids. Everything goes into one bin. There's also no like emptying of the bin, because once it's full, what you'll do is you'll swap out the bucket or the bin for a new one. And then you'll simply place a lid on that bucket or bin, place it either behind your outhouse or in your shed or garage, and let it finish composting there. And then your new bin will be ready to go and in use. These toilets generally have like a pretty large capacity. People use them a lot in like outhouse setups or in cabins. They're popular in homesteads. They do have a large capacity. And because there's no separation of liquids or solids, the liquids will actually pass through the waste. And because the nitrogen in your urine, it actually speeds up the composting process, which is cool. Then it lands at the bottom in the evaporation chamber. And so the majority of liquids will just evaporate on their own. There is a drain at the bottom that will drain any excess liquids, but generally most of it is just evaporated within the evaporation chamber. So there's no emptying of liquids. Also, once your compost is finished composting, it takes about 12 months in the separate bin wherever you're storing it. So once it's finished composting, you can simply use that as soil on your flower beds or your lawn, wherever you want. Also, the larger units like the green toilet are actually on wheels. So when you need to swap out the bin, you're actually just going to hoist it away like a wheelbarrow, and then you can just wheel it to where it needs to be. So you're not going to be having to lift a giant bin full of like a year's worth of waste. Also, which is cool, once it's finished composting, it's like way lighter. It's like 90% or something lighter. So let's talk pros and cons for the batch composting toilet. So number one, it's a super simple design. There's no fans or anything like that. There's no electricity required for this type of toilet, which is really useful in certain circumstances. There's nothing fancy to break. It's literally just a bin with a hole and a comfy seat to sit on. Some units do have attachments that you can put, so you can put the actual bin under your floor and then have a normal looking toilet to sit on. So whatever you're looking for, you can make it as simple or as fancy as you'd like. It is true composting, so like it finishes composting right in the bin that it's in, versus the urine diverting toilets, as we mentioned, needs to finish composting elsewhere. There's no emptying of liquids containers, as I mentioned, so it's all done in the evaporation chamber and the drain. And these toilets are awesome for cabins and very often used in outhouse setups. There's not a lot of cons to this toilet. The only con that maybe wouldn't work for some people is that you do have to store the bins of compost elsewhere. So, you do need storage space for that. Okay, so next up is the continuous composting toilets. We at Wild Oak Trail carry the Sunmar line. There's a few different ones, the Sunmar XL or the Sunmar Centrix. These have an internal rotating drum that mixes and aerates the waste. As new material goes in, older compost moves to a finishing area and breaks down fully. And then the finished compost goes down into the finishing drawer, and that's where you empty the finished compost. These have a super high full-time capacity use and only need to be emptied a few times a year. There's also no liquids draining required on these units too. So the pros for the continuous composting units, I think number one, there's no constant emptying. It only needs to be emptied a couple times a year. There's no liquids draining, which is super helpful. It definitely feels more like a traditional toilet when you're using it. So there's not a high learning curve and you won't really have to explain much to guests using it. There's also a high capacity, so multiple people can use it full time. And these units are true in-unit composting. So you'll only be removing fully composted material from the drawer at the bottom. So the cons to this unit is they are a little bit more expensive than the more basic units like the urine diverting models. They have a larger footprint, so the actual units themselves can be quite a bit larger, so you'd have to have space for that. So it probably wouldn't be something that you would use in a van, but maybe an RV. I've seen it still be used in RVs, definitely cabins, definitely any kind of off-grid homestead situation. They're amazing. Also just residential homes can use them if you would prefer to cut down on water. The installations of these units can be a little bit more involved, especially if you go for the Centrix system, which keeps your toilet above ground, but then the actual compost drum with the bio drum and all of that stuff and the finishing drawer underneath your floor. So you would have to have access to that. So just a few things to consider. There's lots of questions that can come up, and we've got all the answers. So obviously, if you have questions, just give us a call, and we will gladly go over everything with you. So let's take a look at probably the top 3 that we get questions about the most. Number 1 is the Nature's Head Composting Toilet. That's probably our most popular unit. It's compact and rugged, and it's probably most used in places that require a little bit more compact toilet. So vans, tiny homes, RVs, small cabins, that type of situation. Oh, boats as well. Boats can absolutely use the Nature's Head, and it works great. It requires a small 12-volt fan. Again, this is simple to set up, and this just helps add air into your compost and keeps the smells away. So it's a must to use the fan, but it's simple to use. You can use a little solar panel as well. You're probably going to be emptying the liquids like once a week. And you're going to be emptying the solids probably about once a month if there's 2 people using the unit. And it's great for 1 to 2 people as a full-time use. The separate Villa composting toilet has a super sleek design, and it feels like a regular home toilet when you're using it. It comes with either a drain or a urine container, so it's versatile that way. It runs on 12 volts or AC, and it's ideal for 1 to 3 people with full-time use. It's also super low maintenance. The Sunmar Excel uses the biodrum for true in-unit composting, and it comes in electric or non-electric options. It has a super big capacity. It's perfect for cabins or full-time off-grid homes. It does have a large footprint and requires venting. All right, so after we discussed all of our options, which one would be the best? If I had to pick only one for every single scenario, what would it be? I would have to say the Nature's Head. It's versatile, it's easy to use, it's made in the US, it is super rugged, very well built. It can be used anywhere from vans to cabins to outhouse setups, anywhere you need to. The odor control is fantastic. People say that they can't smell anything, like it's just really well done and really well built. It's very simple to use, and it's very easy to install. And honestly, I was trying to think if I can recall any negative comments made about the Nature's Head, and I couldn't think of any. People just talk about how great it is, how easy it is to use, how there's no odor, and they're just happy with the unit overall. So I just have to say, like, the Nature's Head knows what they're doing. And so do all the other companies that I've mentioned. We love all of them, but I'm forced to pick just one for this video. I will be doing more videos based on really more specific scenarios, so stay tuned for that. I also did a video 2 weeks ago about like what is a composting toilet and how does it work. So if you need more kind of details just about composting toilets in general, be sure to check that video too. So hopefully what we've gone over today has helped clarify a few things for you. If you need more information or if you'd like to purchase a composting toilet, we would love to help you with that at wildoaktrail.com. We are open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central. We have an amazing customer service rep. His name is Josh. He is the best and gets nonstop compliments from our customers because he's super nice. So we would love to hear any comments, questions, or help you with anything that you need regarding your off-grid setups. So again, check us out at wildoaktrail.com, and we'd love to hear from you. Oh, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because we're going to be doing a whole bunch more videos about off-grid products that we offer at wildoaktrail.com. We're going to break them down, hopefully cover any questions that you might have, because this is where the research happens, is on YouTube these days. So we'd love to connect with you here, and I hope you have a great day.